Okay, let's talk about identity. This is a huge topic, actually, which excites me because when we understand what identity, human identity is, a lot of things that you might be feeling odd or mysterious in your life start being revealed on its own. So let's set a clear definition of what identity is. Human identity is how you identify the identification of you in the world. Yeah. Identification of you in the world. I don't know which country you're living, where you are located. That has something to do with our identification, like cultural background, ethnic background, different kind of background. Yeah, the education can be an identification. The role that you're playing at work or in an online space can be an identification. Mother is an identity, right? Customer is an identity, right? CEO is an identity. Um, Native American is an identity, right? So what is your identity? And identity is a neutral statement, and identity can contain some stories and belief attached to it. That's what we want to examine, because the ultimate goal is to begin living life without any limitation and in a fuller, expansive way, to feel free, the expansion and the freedom, right? To be able to do things and experience things and be however we want to without any limitation. And I want to kind of talk about this analogy, oh, I am what I think you think I am. I think this is a good topic to talk about in this topic of identity. Let's dissect a little bit, right? I am what I think you think I am, right? I am what I think. I'm thinking in my mind who I think I am in this world that you think I am. So I'm thinking, creating a story around what others are seeing myself as, and that can become an identity. And if you're not aware of that dichotomy, most people are living in that bubble of that. Let's go a little bit deeper, because one of the things that I talk about very often is this idea of identification, who you think you are, how you see yourself in your mind, how you feel about you in this contextual field, in this relative realm, is dynamic and also it's relational. So the analogy that I give often is, imagine that you're living in an island by yourself, maybe birds, trees, skies, oceans, rivers, maybe lake, right? Mosquitoes, but there's nobody else, the humans that are living, right? Who are you in that island? There's no relationality and identification. Then it's interesting when we begin imagining that, we suddenly become aware that, oh, that's right. The sense of who I am in this world, because other stuff, other people exist. I'm relating to that and creating an image of myself through it. Yeah. So many people, most people have gone through school, right? And in school, traditional educational academia, there's thing called grades, right? So A student, B student, C student, F student, right? So your score of your education and maybe the intelligence is being assessed or identified through letter, because you got all this right. Now you're a student, right? And then notice how that can create an image of you, an identity of you. Okay, I do good in school. I don't do good in school. I'm very good in sports. I'm not, right? So all those things that are being created in society creates a sense of self, that concept of you, that identification of who you think you are in that world in your mind. The last piece is the key. The identity lives in the mind. It's a product of the mind. The concept, the idea of who you think you are, how you see yourself in the world. And inevitably, what you think and see yourself in your mind, your body is going to have this feeling tone of how you feel about you, right? You feel about yourself not confident. You feel about yourself very outgoing. You feel yourself about in the world how, right? And it's really important to understand how those feelings is being constructed. And then if you don't like any of those, to acquire an ability to change it. And it's interesting. Identity is just an energy, an information story, and that is not an essential you of who you are, which is a good news because if it's not who you essentially are, it means that you can change it. Now, I want you to think about your past experience of some sort of before and after. And let me give you an example so you can use this example to reflect your story. I was a very not confident child. Yeah. I was always hiding, right? I was always afraid of it. And now that I think about it, I think that feeling afraid of the world and the not feeling confident comes from my background in having an asthma, growing up feeling struggle breathing, right? If you are not able to breathe properly, you will start feeling not confident, right? Like for instance, when you get a little sick or not feeling well, you don't have that confidence and a vitality and this sort of experience of feeling free because you're not free with that restriction. So I grew up struggling with that process for I don't remember how many years, but I think I overcame asthma while I was in living in South America, Peru, and I went back to Tokyo at the age of 11. So by the age of 11, I overcame asthma, right? So maybe like a 4, 5, 6 years old, when I was that age, I was struggling. And then that sort of image of myself, the identity, I took that when I went back to Tokyo in Japan. Because when I look back and think of myself when I was in junior high school and high school, so how many years is that? Three, maybe 5 years. I was not confident. I can remember all those moments, right? But something changed when I discovered dance. Something changed when I discovered dance. My friend, one of my friends in school, high school, invited me to come to this, the train station. People were practicing dance, and then I was so having fun. Another layer of this is that I did a lot of different sports like soccer or basketball, and I enjoy, but then it didn't none of those sports didn't feel like something that I could own or I could master or I want to go deeper into it, but dance was different. And then from there, from that practice took me to a dance studio. And I almost feel like when I think of, practicing dance and looking different people who are dancing so good and being inspired by it and looking at myself in the mirror and practice improving that whole process like 3, 4 years, because I feel like I was in a practice mode for the first 3, 4 years, but then not only once a week, I was doing multiple days per week. And then when that environment changed from the street dancing or hip hop stuff to more of the jazz kind of stuff, everything changed. Like I was discovered by somebody, and then I started to do different shows, and through that, I was discovered by somebody else. And then from there, the momentum was there, and I didn't need to do anything, but all this, dance jobs opportunity came to me. And then I was on the stage, I was on TV, I was, walking the street, and then on the street, I see a big screen and I see myself dancing, right? And I was even, I don't know how many people, maybe 10,000 people. I was dancing in front of those audience, right? So then you start building a different kind of self-image, concept of self because of that environment. And then you start feeling more grounded in yourself, because now I have an image of myself impacting people in a positive way. So I just wanted to share that before and after. I was a not confident, rather weak asthma suffering child to dancing in front of 10,000 people, feeling inspire and impacting the audience. Yeah, that's my before and after that I have gone through. So what is your before and after, and how the situation and consequence and stories that you have lived has impacted the concept of you, identity of you? And notice that this identity is really fluid and dynamic, and it's changing all the time, right? Changing all the time. And one of the most important things that I want to share in this video of identity is that you can construct that and then create that using your imagination. That's what all the Olympic athletes or anybody who, I was doing that unconsciously, right? Because when I practiced dance in front of the mirror, I actually was visualizing audience, right? Even when I got on the stage, I was visualizing. So mentally visualizing dancing in front of the people and feeling how it felt like was my lifestyle. So how can we begin implementing that into your life? Because your life is the stage that you are demonstrating and expressing yourself. How do you want your life stage to be? And how do you want to be feeling as you interact with people? And that mental rehearsal, and to feel that energy, to feel that new sense of self based on your desire and who you would like to be, is going to change your identity. And many people are doing this unconsciously, right? People who get on the stage, people who are, public speaker, people who are doing, and most of us are doing this mental rehearsal against us by imagining a different, negative scenario and putting yourself in that and then feeling that, right? So how can we navigate our mental attention to the feeling that you want to create based on what you want to see? That is the power of imagination. So I guess the conclusion of this particular video is to send you a message, offer this message that identity is and can be built, and actually we are always doing it through our imagination, right? You are interacting to the world, and you have a future pace imagination that you can construct. You can construct a memory-based imagination, but then you can navigate your mind's attention to picture whatever that you want to picture. And how can you begin building a sense of self based on who you want to become using your imagination? Identity can be constructed through a deliberate imagination. Yeah. I hope this makes sense. And this was a little probably longer video. And let me know if you have any questions. Let me know your before and after, what those are, and what are you taking away from any question, because this identity conversation is so crucial and something that we want to actually practice. I even feel like this identity work needs to be in one of the classes curriculums in school. And when we start doing that, um, everybody's life is going to be completely different. So identity is the key, and identity can be created through imagination. In fact, we are always doing that. So we just want to do that deliberately and intentionally. So comment below if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.